Hi, I'm TLC from Quantum Balance Crystals, and I'm the heart of QBC. And welcome to the deep dive into the pink feminine heart chakra. So in this video, we're going to go over the purpose of pink, the information, the affirmations, and the intentions. And this is where you're going to get a vision of what pink is all about, and hopefully that will help you identify for your own self if you need some more work to help that pink feminine heart chakra blow open. The first thing you should know about the heart chakras is that they are in two parts. We have the feminine heart chakra and the masculine heart chakra. And inside of us, we have both energies, and they have to be balanced to be in circulation. The pink is a receiving heart energy, and the green is a giving heart energy. And both of these energies have to be balanced. We have to receive and give in a balanced way. But the gift is what we're going to learn when we go through both of these heart chakras, is that we can give and receive at the same time. And that's what I'm talking about with circulation. The first step of opening up your pink feminine heart chakra is to love yourself. And by doing this, you have to take time to nurture yourself. And when I'm talking about that is like do a massage, go on a walk, somehow take yourself away from your daily activities and really spend some time with yourself and not have any outside influences or distractions. It might seem really difficult at first if you have a lot of obligations and responsibilities. I know with your workplace, with your family, you might have kids. Sometimes you just don't feel like you have enough time in the day to take a little moment for yourself. But it's so important if you can pull yourself out and spend some time with yourself. And that could be just reading a book too, just to be able to have some alone time is really healthy. All right, I remember at the beginning of when I was learning about loving myself, I went to a workshop and a man there asked me, "Do you love yourself?" And I remember having, like, it almost stunned me, like, what is that? I don't know. I was a very kind and loving person, but I didn't really know how to treat myself, and I didn't really know how to nurture myself and love myself. And so he told me just to stand there and breathe into my body and just keep saying the mantra, I love myself. And so that's what I had started practicing, and that's what took me on this journey into loving myself. And now one of my practices is I practice loving myself unconditionally, and I like to see the world like I'm the mirror of unconditional love, because we're like mirrors of each other. So I want to stand to be a mirror of unconditional love for my friends, my kids, whoever in the world. If you know that you have some self-love issues, one exercise that's really helpful is the mirror work. So when you look inside of a mirror and you say, I love you, and say, I love you 3 times, and just watch and observe your mind to see if there's any judgments or projections that come up. Because the more you say, I love you into a mirror, the more those judgments will lose power, and they will actually leave your consciousness. And you will start feeling more love inside of you, and more love will radiate out of you. And this is what your friends and family and your kids will feel, is your full love presence. The second step of opening up the pink feminine heart chakra is receiving. So after you learn to love yourself and you're practicing the mirror work of really seeing yourself with love and seeing yourself clearly without any story projection, then the next step is receiving, to receive that love inside your being. And that opens up your heart too, because we want our heart to be open and expansive. So a couple other exercises I practiced to open myself up to receiving was hugging. That I realized that when I was hugging somebody, if somebody gave me a hug, I wanted to give the hug back. It's like our automatic response. But if I stood there and became this receiver, and the other person is doing the hugging, your heart opens. You're going to feel energy in your heart that you never felt before, and it feels really open. But also the person that's hugging you is going to feel that energy, And it's like you just gave them a gift. And so that's a good one to practice with your friends, your partner, anybody that comes up, gives you a hug, receive the hug, and watch how the energy is transformed. All right, so another thing is when somebody gives you a compliment, it is so important to receive the compliment. And I always thought that I would have to give the compliment back. And instead, you just say thank you. You receive it. Your heart feels so open and blessed. And the person is feeling that you're feeling blessed by the compliment. And the whole exchange is so much more loving and transformational. Okay, the third step about loving yourself is acceptance. And that's accepting yourself, accepting who you are. And so now you're loving yourself with no judgments. And another trick about acceptance is accepting the people in your life and accept your partner or your children and not have a projection on them that you have to fix them or you have to change them, but you accept them for exactly who they are and what they're being. And your whole experience will be so different when you see it from that filter. So when you're seeing your family or your partner with conditions and a projection or a story, you're not really letting them be free to be who they are. When you start seeing yourself in love and you see others in love and you don't have any projections or conditions on them, you're going to feel a new energy open up inside of you, and it's going to be compassion. It's when you're understanding for where they are, you meet everybody where they are, and you become a better listener, and you're listening to where they're at, and you're doing it without judgment. So listening, trusting yourself is also part of loving yourself. The end goal of working with your female heart chakra is connections. We're creating connections. It's listening to ourselves, trusting ourselves, and then seeing the world through love. Is we want to connect with our family. We want to connect with our partner. We want to connect with our children all on an energetic level. And to do that is we have to work in our pink feminine heart chakra energy. When you start practicing loving yourself, receiving, and acceptance, and you start opening it all up, you're going to feel an energy inside you that's very compassionate. And you're going to feel compassion for others. You're going to feel compassion for yourself. And compassion is just merely an understanding to meet the person in front of you where they're at. And you're going to be able to do that when you're working with your heart chakra. So another part of receiving is listening. So just notice with all your relationships how good you're listening to each other. Because a lot of times two people get together and they're going over things and it gets loud and a conflict and they're not really hearing each other at all. And when you start listening at this deeper level of being more of a receiver to listen, you're going to see the deeper meaning of that story. And it's probably not about the story. There's going to be some emotional component there. Some people might find it more difficult to be in this listening because it might trigger you. It might bring up reactions. You might feel defensive. But if you can just really be still with that and just listen, you're going to find out it's not even about you. And that is why it's so important to work on these chakra centers in the order they are. And the one underneath the pink is the yellow solar plex. And that's where you're going to release all the defense and all the reaction. And you're going to see everything more love and more without fear. And that's going to help you be a better listener. And then you're going to be able to see the deeper meaning, the deeper passion inside your relationships. So I'm going to give you my personal story of how I practiced receiving and listening. And this has to do with my ex-husband, is that one time in this kitchen, he started projecting and getting triggered on one of my sons. And he was saying all kinds of things. And instead of me getting defensive and reacting, I just said, okay, I'm going to receive this. And I started listening to him. And I started realizing he was just projecting a story, and he didn't even really know who my son is. He just had this picture that he made up. And so I was just looking him in his eyes, listening as he was telling me the story. And then all of a sudden he got up and said, "Oh my God, you're listening to me." And he was shocked because he finally felt heard. And then you know what? I don't think it ever was brought up again. It like just dissolved the whole situation. And I realized and I learned that that's what we're doing in our relationships is we don't stop and listen to each other. And all we want is to be heard. And once we're heard, no more drama. It's just the stuff we create. We want someone to hear us. And so listening is just such a gift for yourself and for others. I'm going to share with you some simple affirmations that I used on my journey, and they might resonate with you. I connect with the feminine divine energy within me. Number 2 is I love myself and others unconditionally. And number 3 is I receive love freely. Number 4 is I'm the best mirror of love. In conclusion, I want to thank you all for being here and for listening. And just remember to love yourself, to love others, and to really see the world that it's all love.